Hi, y'all. Eric Kaiser, and I'm down here in Atlanta, Georgia, and do I have one story for you? So, um, I have a county here that I'm ready to do this process on, and it's like a trifecta of all trifectas, and I believe we could teach a lot of people a lesson. I'm like Chris, like 3% mentality. I've been dealing with the system my whole life. I'm sure. I'm sure my trust is huge. I wasn't a bad guy, but I got my fair share of crap growing up. So I'm married still. When all this really started, I was living in Florida. My wife just, I had an awakening. I changed. My wife didn't want to change. I got sober. I wanted to have a better life, and things were just falling apart. So after getting assaulted in Florida and having to put my wife in jail, she came out of the marriage and didn't want any parts of it anymore. When we were in Florida, she also ended up in a mental institution. So I did what I was felt right as a spiritual guy. I didn't have to leave Florida. We made a verbal contract agreement that if I move you back, we have 50-50 custody. All right. So I come back to Georgia, I move into a motel room, and I do what I do as a spiritual guy. I study a lot about law of attraction, manifestation. I'm that guy. So I stayed positive in my life, really started going in the right direction. And it wasn't easy. I didn't have a car. I did everything with a bicycle. And, I kept my 50-50. I kept my agreement. Right away, mom, who was supposed to move in with her mom, aborted the situation and moved my kids in with what I found out to be a meth dealer. They had roommates. My kids were 3 and 4 at the time. And party for mom. And, dad just stayed in the books. Now, I never judged her. I'm a spiritual guy. I know that I made a lot of mistakes too. So I don't judge people. We all make mistakes. Problem with this woman is she will not stop making them. So that's 3 years ago. That relationship lasted for about a year. Really cost my kids a lot of turmoil because I didn't know how bad it was until the very end, but that one ended with the guy doing 5 months, lots of domestic violence, and it was pretty bad. So me and mom had a little moment there, not that moment, but just almost like a forgiveness where she hugged me. Is this how I made you feel? Yeah, it was pretty bad because I was with my wife for 8 years and it was bad. It was pretty much bad the whole time. I was lacking self-love, if anybody understands that part. And, I loved her, but I didn't love myself. And I was so obsessed with trying to help her that I forgot about me. So the marriage went on for a long time, a lot of just domestic violence. And, for me, I'm an accountable man. I had a word samurai sword, and if anybody came at me, I just let it go. I regret all those moments, but I wasn't physically violent. She was, and I took a lot of black eyes, a lot of abuse. I made the mental decision after my awakening that I was getting sober, and, that's where I moved. Anyway, we got back to Georgia. That relationship happens, and then mom decides to get a bartending job over here in Atlanta because I had already gotten myself into Atlanta, a really nice part of the city. And, again, kept my 50%, never had a problem. Start to have to bail mom out because she took a daytime bartending job and she made me her primary caretaker. So I was okay with it. I was in a spiritual surrender. I stopped worrying about paying bills. I started going through evictions. But God, I knew, would always have my back. My places kept getting nicer, more convenient, and things just kept working my way. So we had wonderful coronavirus. Well, this is where mom just disappears for about 7 months. And when she did reappear, it was always kind of a drugged out version of mom. And she wanted to be pop in, pop out mom. And I didn't like that. I didn't want her to be I didn't want my kids to be a part of that. I was structuring my kids around light and love energy, about active service, about being the people that we are. And, she was just out there making her mistakes. I was hearing from everybody about everything she was doing. And, as a spiritual guy, I didn't ever want to take action. I didn't want to go file for divorce. As Chris says, all these government things, bunch of bullshit. When I became really spiritual, I really saw what happens to us. And I became a life coach. Throughout the whole entire process, I had an open mind that one day she'll get it. One day she'll jump on board of why we don't want to put our kids in public schools. But anyway, long story short, I'm trying to blast through this. There's so many details I could go on for hours, but I want to get to the court. So she met a new guy, and it was the same story as the first guy. And she had plenty of guys in between them guys while married. This guy was different, though. This guy was her story. Bald head, tattoo face, grill. And my wife really started to change. That went on for probably about, 50-50 custody. Still about 5 months. It was shaky, but normal. He was trying to fight me. Always just that guy. I wouldn't fight him. I wouldn't go there. I kind of just laughed it all off. But then my kids started talking about being hit and what they were seeing. So I questioned them. And they got very defensive about it. At that point, I knew it was true. Again, I was still not going to take any action. I was going to let God let it play out. Well, boy, did God let it play out. After one visitation where I had my kids about 21 days that month, she took my kids, actually helped somebody get me arrested for an old traffic warrant. So I went and did 2 days, and then when I got out, she was like, no, you can't have the kids. What? Go file for a divorce. All right. Went and filed for a divorce. Then I started getting Airbnbs because I was in between places, and she was like, you're not stable. You have to have your own place. When you get your own place, then we'll talk, and you can have your 50% back. All right. Daddy Dougie. I think 21 days later, I have my lease in my place. Now, during all this nonsense, I'm a content creator. I'm a loudmouth. I'm the one yelling at the government that processed foods are killing people, that the program of advertising with alcohol is killing America. Why the government wants to separate all of us? Because they want that 66 cents on the dollar. Listening to Chris really educated me a lot more than I already was, and thank God I found Chris. Because what this county has done to me has been the worst experience of my life. And I've been in the system my whole life. This has been the worst because for 3 years I walked with God. I taught my kids the right principles. I taught my kids art of communication. I taught my kids energy. I taught my kids everything you could possibly teach them. Well, during this mess, because I was making content, I guess she was able to use that to get a judge's attention. And she was able to wrap me up in this to me, was a bullshit TBO case. So first, down here in Atlanta, everything's done over Zoom. I wanted to ask Chris about that. Are any of these cases over Zoom even legal? We're not crossing any bars. We're not doing anything. We're in front of a damn computer in my house. But anyway, I got that same judge that you talked about, the young lady with the judge that's probably lesbian. This lady is a brute. She's actually being picked on YouTube because of live court cases. That's how bad she is. So my first appearance, I just show up like on Zoom. This is bullshit. And this lady just starts hammering me, right? She asked for the evidence. She gets my evidence. She asked for my wife's evidence. Nothing. Well, Mrs. Kaiser, send the evidence. Well, I'm trying. And, this lady starts bouncing around. I'm like, look, you got my evidence. There's nothing to put a TPO on me. This is poor people stuff. That lit this lady on fire. Mr. Kaiser, rich people do that. I said, whoa, poverty mind. Not poor as money, poverty. Different meaning. Well, she didn't like me. Started talking about dumping gas on stuff, and asked me about a lawyer. I said, well, yeah, I just had to file for a divorce. So yeah, I have an attorney for my divorce. Oh, that's what everybody says. I'm like, what are you talking about? I want to know that you have an attorney. Why? I want your attorney in here if you have an attorney. Did you pay this lady? I said, yeah. You ever meet her in person? No, I just paid her. We just got the paperwork process going. I'll meet her when I'm ready. No, I want to see her in here. This judge forces me to get on the phone with my attorney and get her in the Zoom case. She shows up. All right, well, since Mr. Kaiser has an attorney, I want to give his wife a fair shot, and I think she should be able to go get an attorney too. They assigned my wife an attorney for free and postponed a case after I already haven't seen my kids for 4 months because of this woman taking off. 4 months, my baby girl, my kids are 5 and 6 now, didn't know if their dad was dead or alive. I had no communication, nothing. So here's this judge forced me to bring an attorney in on a dead case. No evidence, nothing. Content creator, pissed off. So after this case, she postpones it. I am lit. I make some content about it. I make content about the judge personally. I don't care. I'm not afraid of these people. Well, my attorney, young as she was, the other attorney, young, both of them just starting out. This judge, straight narcissist, they go out into a breakout room during this case, and she comes back in and she's like, well, that video that you made, this judge is really mean. She's probably going to really give it to you. Look, you haven't seen your kids in a while. I'm sure you miss them. Little piece of candy in front of my face. So yeah, I miss them dearly. She's like, well, I can get the kids removed from the TPO, which that was bullshit because I never even seen it happen. And I'm going to get you a custody schedule every other weekend. I just went from having my kids primary to every other weekend, and I'm the guy that kept my kids outside every day. When I say I was a freedom dad, my kids never really see me work. And I was out there every day with my kids on electric bike, pulling them in the trailer. My kids are adventure kids when they're with me. So this is where this fiasco starts. I agreed to this dumb shit because this lawyer tells me, look, if they're in domestic violence, I'll get you an emergency hearing. We'll get them out. All right, if you could prove that she's been in old domestic violences, people went to jail, this is easy. All right, fuck it. Soon as I got done saying this and I walked outside and I was like, you just made a mistake. It hit me in my head like a ton of bricks. And I never used lawyers in my life. Fuck. Pick up the phone, call a couple other attorneys, and they're like, yo, that was the worst thing you've ever done in your life. They explain it to me. Now I'm pissed. I go straight down to the courthouse. I said, I want to file an appeal. They're like, modify. And I was like, whatever the hell I have to file to get back in front of that judge to get this changed, I need now. So they give it to me. Now, this is who I am. In my TPO, the stipulations are no contact at all. I'm not allowed to make videos about anything. I'm like, wait a second. You're going to try to shut this up? All right. I started making more videos. I sent a letter with my kids in her backpack to her and her boyfriend about, hey, before this gets out of control, I have a bunch of money right now. I had a really good month. Why don't we open up a business together? My wife became a window tinner like I was. And I was like, that just makes the most sense. They use all that. So when my modify hearing comes up, I have a contempt on me. And I'm like, you're out of your mind. This judge talked about giving me 10 days. All right, that's a meditation retreat to me. You want me to go inside for 10 days? I'll help so many people while I'm in there. They won't come back. All right, you can do whatever you want, but this is bullshit because these people are beating on my kids or they're beating on each other in front of my kids. What makes you say that? Well, this sounds like a guardian ad litem case. All right, whatever. If I got to bring a guardian ad litem in, what's that cost? $7,000 for a TPO, $7,000. Wow. All right, fuck it. I'll pay it. I want my kids back. That case goes on, and I don't hear nothing from them about this guardian ad litem. Finally, now I start pounding down their door. Now they changed the guardian ad litem. The guardian ad litem jumps on the case, calls me up, one phone call, one email. Then they email me to set up times to come meet. They want to do it over cell phones, over Zoom. I said, hell no. I paid you $4,000 and you want to do an investigation about domestic violence over a cell phone. Are you out of your mind? At this point in time, the kid's mom is already in touch with me telling me things are a mess. My kids are always asking about me. Every time they go there, all they do is smell weed. I have no problem with weed. but don't be selling it if you got my kids in the same damn house. And that's what the mom said. So I'm all over this case. Like, I'm so aggravated, right? I get a new attorney. Tell her the whole deal. This is where you start to learn about attorneys being scumbags. This attorney had to do one thing. She could have filed for ineffective assistance of counsel, right? 6 months prior. Like, as soon as she got on the case, she could have filed that. She didn't. She didn't file for an appeal. She didn't file for anything. Right? I even had emergency hearings in DeKalb County where they lived to have them investigate. And this lady canceled my hearing that I waited months and months for. And then I flipped my shit because one day this kid mom hits me up and says, I have something for you to listen to. All right, send it. If you go back through some of the videos on this page, you'll experience what my kids had to experience. 107 times, well, probably way more because she only audio recorded 107 times of domestic violence over and over and over. Now, being an educated man, understanding the 0 to 7 programming phase in childhood, this is fucking my kids up bad. So I am livid. Now I'm up DFAX's ass. I'm up everybody's ass with this evidence. I have an hour physical evidence, audio evidence of my wife and this man. I mean, you can hear, it gets better. You can hear their baby get slammed down, crying, screaming, like her choking, her screaming for help, her calling for the cops, her doing all this stuff while audio recording. But yeah, they even had a baby in my name. So here in Georgia, this is what a good parent looks like. A good parent for the system. See, I think we've all figured out that here in America, they want to split us the fuck up so they can get our money. They can get us fighting. They like this. They don't like the spiritual daddies who want to teach light and love. They want the fuck ups. So I've been dealing with this now for over a year. There have been moments already where my wife broke our custody order to go party at Imagine Fest for 4 days and do drugs. So daddy, on a Sunday, went down to Athens, Georgia. During all this, she used to live 25 minutes away. She's taken off 90 minutes away with my kids. I went down there with my paperwork, got my kids. My daughter had pneumonia. My son had upper respiratory. Still to this day, I just talked to my kids who are supposed to be with me right now. My wife's in contempt of court again right now for visitation. And just craziness. This story is just trying to get it all out in the right way is hard. But anyway, we had one guardian ad litem, then the second guardian ad litem. Second guardian ad litem takes $1,200 from the other guardian ad litem. The other guardian ad litem stole $2,800. Won't give it back. Make that make sense. So, daddy has filed everything. I filed my own appeal. I've been back in front of a new judge because I had the first judge removed. Yeah, I wrote the state the whole nine. But the second judge, the last time I just seen her, was like, well, if you want the guardian ad litem to investigate, you have to pay $1,200. I already gave you all $4,000. Well, yeah, we know, but you have to pay her $1,200. All right, that day I just kind of like shrugged it off like, yeah, okay. Why would I do that? I've noticed with this case and my divorce case, which I haven't seen a judge at all, no mediation, no nothing. On my TPO case, they didn't put us in the family portal. I've been alienated this entire time. And still, I just finally got to talk to my kids after a month because it is my weekend. And I'm like, you're already in contempt. You're not even letting me talk to my kids. So I have 2 guardian ad litems. I have 2 judges. I have the clerk. I have her attorney. I have my wife. Yeah, I'm ready to hang people by their balls. So I need help writing or finding out where I get a copy of the acceptance letter. I'm sorry, just I've been through all Chris's videos in 2 days, so I'm about to go back through the ones I really feel like I need to see, but I'm going to put this in a Facebook group too that I just found. I need y'all's help. Like, I am done. I don't care about money. I just care about my kids. I care about teaching this county a lesson. Here, it gets even better. I had just moved to this county. I was living in a different county for 8 months. I wasn't even a resident here yet. And it got me wrapped up in all this stuff. So here recently, and I've been threatening to sue. I've been on the phones with DFACS attorneys. I've been down to the school board. I have let everybody hear this evidence, and it gets better. Since then, my wife has turned into, I guess, along the way, a witch. And that might sound funny, but I don't take this shit lightly. Like, the things she's doing on TikTok is for real. I went to a spiritual store and said, what does this mean? That's bad. Yeah, I also got sick since then. Like, I've been coughing shit up like crazy. So the second guardian ad litem, who pretty much ignores me all the time, I'm like, you have the evidence. Your job is to protect kids. Why are you not stepping in yet? And I threatened to sue her. That Monday, I got an email about I had a warrant. All right, you fuckers want to put a warrant on me? So I called the courthouse. They can't find anything on it. My wife thinks I have a warrant. Then I find out from Chris that, hey, it's 32 grand a day. All right. Y'all want to lock me up? No fucking problem. During all this extortion, my business got destroyed because I couldn't focus on it. Did I go through depression? I don't know, maybe, I guess, because I stopped caring. When you don't have your kids, the one thing that lights your fire every day, and that's what you live for. Like, me and my kids are content people. Like, we like to make videos. My kids want to be content creators on YouTube, and my idea is awareness content so kids don't have to grow up in the America that we're used to. I'm trying to program my kids to be the next leaders in this country. The next people who step up and have a voice, who don't become sheep, who don't go to sleep. I think everybody in these groups kind of understand awareness and what happens, right? We wake up, we see it clearly. So I just need a little bit of help understanding the conditional acceptance letter, however I say that. That is what I need help with. I'm going to go back through Chris's videos again and see if he says where you get it, the copy of it. And another question is, where do these guys obtain 1099As? I have been all over IRS website. I see them for sale on eBay. Does anybody know if that's real? I'll buy the damn things. I don't care. Because I want to fry these people. And I want to go after each and every one of them for $6 million apiece. I think that should teach them a lesson. And again, I'm not afraid to go to jail. I've been in jail. When I go to jail, it's more of a healing. Because I look at those guys and say, hey, you want to know who keeps this place open? Who, Eric? We do. Because we keep coming back. So if you don't come back here, you got a better chance of this bitch closing. But I want to say I love you, Chris, man. I hope to meet you someday. Your videos have put a new spark in me. My fire went out. I literally was about to detach. I told my kids goodbye. I was like literally looking at places in Florida to just get away until my divorce court cases. Here's the funny thing. The other county wouldn't even give me a court date until after the TPO was expired. Meaning, Fulton County didn't want to be exposed for setting a dad up and extorting him for $10,000. Because that's about what they got out of me. And because of them, I'm actually going through... Oh, I'll be right back. I found one of these on my door because I couldn't make my rent. I'm a window tinner, and we had a pretty big cold front come through, and I'm mobile, and it kind of shut me down, and I fell behind. But then I started thinking about it. Fulton County stole all my money. This is in Fulton County. Fuck it. I'm going to make them pay for it. So that's where I'm at now. And plus, let's use our brains here, right? When it comes to paying bills in this country right now, we just went through Corona. Do you honestly think they've been able to evict everybody? They're defunding police right now. They don't even have that many cops. You think there's that many available sheriffs to go out and evict people? I live here as long as I want for free. But I would rather pay my bills. So, if anybody can help me on this, I would greatly appreciate it because I'm done. I've had my ass kicked by the system my whole life. I probably gave them over $500,000 in fines and fees and just shit that I kept doing wrong that they could have said, hey, how about a little bit of life coaching? How about you put down the alcohol? How about you get away from the bar scene? We live and we learn. But yeah, right now she's in contempt for this whole month. This visit and the last 2 weeks ago. Again, I wasn't even going to file anymore. I'm so exhausted. I felt like the energy I was giving this thing was making it worse. But then I found Chris's content and I said, no, I'm putting this planet to fight. During all this, I started up a nonprofit called Kaiser's Cause. And that's to flip the corporal punishment law in this nation. Meaning you cannot hit kids. We don't stand for that shit. I even want to create an app where if kids are getting abused, they can go down. They can go into the app and submit their own evidence. And the parents won't even know. And we'll just show up and take action. These are things I want to do in my life. Once I get these millions from this trust, I'm going to open up community centers and try to offer free coaching for single parents. Single parents is the epidemic right now. I mean, if you look at the kids growing up right now, the 20s and 30s, if you look at some of these social apps and you look at their content, they're into witchcraft. They're into dark shit. And it's crazy. It's part of our society now, though. Something we got to deal with. But if we can educate these kids about energy and where their lives will go if they take that way, we might be able to make a difference. And I hope all of us people like this can make a difference. You know, I'm not in here. I'm sure, like, when Chris talks about his videos, which ones had a lot of views, the ones about money and 1099s, everybody wants to know. I don't give a fuck about the money. I know how to make money. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to take the money, but I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it to teach these peckerheads a lesson. And I really do think I have a national story when they get to see how bad this judge set me up and extorted the shit out of me. Because I made the mistake in that courtroom that day saying, I just had one of the biggest months of my life. I did like 50 grand. And yeah, didn't matter because they stole all the working capital. I might get sued by one of the contractors. Yeah, they caused me a lot of shit. I lost probably a total of business, 60 grand. And then my Google Local got shut off. That was pretty cute too. Wonder if they had anything to do with that, kind of like Chris's phone getting hacked. So I understand they've probably been watching me for a while because I've been loud about this shit for a long time. And I'm not afraid of it. So if you're looking for a soldier, I'm one of your soldiers, sir. And I am here to serve. And I'm here to change things. I just need a little bit of help. And I know Chris is a busy guy now. And that's another thing about this banking thing. I have information in my head that I knew this was coming. I'm a part of a humanitarian group that's almost basing a financial system around everything that Chris is talking about right now, about our trusts. And I see the world changing. But before it does, I think there's some judges, some lawyers that need to be taught a valuable lesson in humility. And that we're not here to be picked on. None of us. And as a dad, that's the most important gift I have in my life. My children. I'm not even getting to see them grow, and she put them in public schools. So please, if anybody out there can help me, 404-906-1891. I'll put my number right out there. Shoot me a text message. If anybody could just walk me through understanding how to do the paper, I'll write it all. I just need to know the steps and how to get that going off. I'm going to go back through the videos again. Like I said, I'm not one of these lazy people. I'm a content junkie. I've been at this for 4 years, 200 audiobooks. And I just listened to all Chris's content in about 2 days. So I'm about to go back at it again. But if anybody can help me, I'm going to email this to Chris. I need y'all's support. I need some help. This woman's just skating through like it's nothing, and I can't even see a divorce judge until the end of January. My kids are ready to come back to daddy now. So please, y'all, can you help me out just a little bit? Anybody. I appreciate it. Thank you. I love you. Bye.